Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the reigning world champion, the Terran in the blue from Team Liquid. It's Clem. Facing off against arguably the best Protoss player in the world in the red, we have MaxPax. A best of 5 Terran versus Protoss finals, where Clem is getting up in MaxPax's face and slapping down a bunker at the natural. So I'm gonna have to quickly get up in your face and beg you for some likes and maybe even subscribes. And Jimmy, quickly, what? 1,556 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. A straight-up bunker rush to block the natural. MaxPax has taken the outside base. Reaper's in the main. Probe's pulled off the line. And he'll be able to pick off what? He tried to sneak it into the gas geyser, but so far the damage is being done. Another one pops out. Stalker's still a long way off, and that Reaper can protect itself in the bunker, and it will heal inside there. Meanwhile, the probe is checking throughout the main base, taking some damage. Clem? No. I thought he was going to try to surround and kill it, but will he add another bunker? Just sitting on the bottom of the ramp. The SCVs!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
The probe is dead. Long live the probe. As the Reapers hop back into the bunker, MaxPax, did he respect this just the right amount or not enough? He's refusing to be intimidated by Clem's in-your-face, just disrespectful bunker cheese. But at the same time, by taking this base on the outside, he's made, well, the Stalker is dying. Already throws a preemptive grenade as something of a force field. The Hellion lives through it. Another Stalker comes out, trying to target down the Hellion, knocks it out, but the Reapers are chasing. Another Stalker's on the way down. Micro's back, chasing through, gets one, back to the bunker. Stalker chasing again. Other Reaper sneaks back into the main, uses the bunker as a staging area to try to reset the Stalkers, and guess who's back? And back again. And the Reapers are back. The probes won't have any friends at the end of this. 3 probes dead. Grenades, but gets another one. So what is the total? Well, the damage has not fully been tallied yet, as there's still plenty of units that could continue to keep MaxPax under fire, in the most literal sense, as more Hellions are coming across the map. The Reapers, a shield battery in the mineral line of the outer base. The bunker is still intact, and enough Stalkers got taken out. He doesn't really have the ability to deal with it directly. Not going to try to salvage quite yet, but the Reaper Hellion is sneaking around and going for the mineral line. Throws a grenade to bounce the Stalkers back and buy himself that much more time. Will he just try to salvage the bunker? He's going straight into the main end of the Stalker warped in. Reaper taken out. Hellions lining up the probes. 3 more probes dead. He's not done with them yet. Through the fire and the flames, though, MaxPax will carry on. He keeps calm and, well, what's the damage? 10 probes slaughtered. 2 Stalkers. Well, one of those probes was in Clem's main. But it cost him 3 Hellions, 4 Reapers, and quite a delay on his natural. I think Clem did enough damage. I think it was worth it. Blink is on the way. Cloak Banshees could be a game-ending move. Blink is actually almost completed, and the tank is not sieged. It will siege up at exactly the right time to do maximum damage. Those Stalkers actually walked into it. The tank not being sieged, I think, somewhat accidentally gave him a false sense of security, where he could just walk by. But he ends up losing another Stalker because of it. And Robo is just now finishing. I don't think he has any vision of the fact that Cloak Banshees are coming in, and those are the most dangerous version of Cloak Banshees. And into the main base, and here we go again. The Stalkers are brought back, but the Banshee doing terrible, terrible damage already to the probes. All these probes on the run. I think the Robo's at the outer base. So he's trying to use the shield. Everybody huddle in the corner. That's kind of depressing. Huddle in the corner and you can get a sip of the shield battery, Timmy. Please, sir, may I have some more energy? No, we got rid of overcharge. Enjoy your recharge. But but it's only good against Zergs, monsieur. Good. I don't know what that was, but I do know that MaxPax is in quite an uncomfortable position. Another Banshee comes in, Blink Stalkers. Might have just barely not enough, but Clem flew right into that one. More Stalkers coming down. He's not quite done with it yet. And if Clem is not particular about his pathing, so he needs to have detection. The Banshee, and he gets it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
MaxPax hunts the Banshee to the literal ends of the Earth, or space platform, or wherever the hell this is, and ends up killing the Banshee, and thus removing the main threat to his economy, at least for the near future. But there will be more threats. As 2 medevacs are currently in production, MaxPax barely stabilizing. He's finally been able to take his natural. He now has a slight worker lead, but of course he had to spend a lot rebuilding all those probes. A much more aggressive start. I guess Hero, the Clem versus Hero matches we've seen lately have kind of turned me around. As Hero, kind of, with his Forrest Gumpian drunken brawler style, has actually kept Clem busy. But against MaxPax, Clem, I think, feels a little bit more leeway to do some kind of out there strategies, because MaxPax has actually turned into the premium standard of Protoss. Almost too standard sometimes, I think. But we'll see if that bears out by the end of this. The Blink Stalker still holding. Is that in a... oh, charge is done. No other upgrades yet. He's working on +1. The siege tanks will begin their assault from far away from the base, and that means the charge lots are just going to get in and slice things up. Clem forced to micro back towards his natural. Clem with 3 siege tanks on the other side, but the charge lots are still harrying the SCVs. Now more charge lots warped into a prism. There's nothing in the main base. There's nothing to defend against this. This is going to be devastating for Clem. He's in the middle of the map with 3 siege tanks and 20 supply of bio. He's not accomplishing anything right now. I don't even know if MaxPax knows he's here, which might be the only good thing. Oh my, the Stalkers blink back after getting pummeled by siege tanks. But Clem has lost so much time dealing with this, and MaxPax, it really only cost him a few zealots. So, the Warp Prism backstab again has done more than enough to drag MaxPax back into the game. And now he has Colossi in production. Extended Thermal Lance has begun as well. A very key upgrade against especially Clem. But the Warp Prism has been found out. There was a Stalker over here for some reason. Meanwhile, more Blink Stalkers working on the front line. Every single unit he can pick off is worth it. There is a bunker, but that Marauder eviscerated. Meanwhile, the bunker trying to repair. It might be enough. The charge lots pull back. Meanwhile, the main army, force fields will zone out some of the Marines. Siege tanks pummeling everything on the front lines. The 4th base may go down. The Warp Prism will be taken out by the Vikings that are chasing it. At least it seems very likely. It's getting back to the corner. One of the Vikings hits the ground, knocks out the Prism. MaxPax supply block, losing the pylons at the outer base. A big charge lot flank is set up, but Clem is closing in. Is there another Colossus? He needs another Colossus, but I don't think he's going to have it. The siege tanks. The charge lots are a little slow, and that means the main army will be crushed first. And the charge lots never came in to draw the fire away. Now, he's going to try to turn it around. He finds a better opportunity. The charge lot's incredibly good against the siege tanks on their own. Doesn't take out the Colossus. And the medevacs will have to pick up and get out. The Widow Mines will be taken down as well. And MaxPax waits for his moment. And that allows him to turn this around. It wasn't a victory, but it wasn't a defeat. Overall, MaxPax actually killing a similar amount of resources. The most important part, though, Clem denied the 4th base. And with that, it makes it a lot easier for him to keep up with MaxPax's gateway-based economy here. He's not even building Colossi. He's rebuilding a Prism. +2 attack is on the way. Armory's only halfway done for Clem. It's just full-on mid-game aggression. The Vikings over the top. One of those Colossi already incredibly bruised. 14 kills in that last engagement. Observer spotting Clem maneuvering towards the north side. There's 9 Widow Mines on the field, 6 Vikings. MaxPax gonna try the 4th base again. Clem maintaining the supply lead. Marine runs in. Deja vu. We've just been in this base before. He's actually gonna get almost 2 kills. Zealot knocks him out. Blink Stalkers. Blinking out of the Widow Mines, taking a couple out. The main army, medium on the top of the ramp, gonna get a few more Marauders. War Prism is spotted. Vikings pull back to try to intercept it. But MaxPax recognizes he snipes off a ghost with the Stalkers. They got +2 now. A little bit easier to pick things off. MaxPax really using them. Looking for another ghost. Shift blinking back. Trade a Stalker for a ghost any day of the week that ends in Y. Which is probably also a day MaxPax played against Clem, so. Well, here we go. Pylon being targeted. EMP, the Colossus. One stub toe away from death, but still getting some hits off. The Viking count's so dangerous, and our Danish player should know how dangerous that is. The charge lots come around again. Widow Mines soften them up, but another warp in from the left side, making it a little easier. The last Colossus is driven back, trying to target down the Vikings so the Colossus can get back into the fray. Will do so for now. Blinks the Stalkers in, but the Vikings, the Colossus! One last swipe, and the fight is so close, but the reinforcements could easily tilt it. A few more charge lots come back. Clem does not have a 4th base during this, though he's floating it over now. He does not have 2-2 upgrades, though they're almost done. MaxPax holds on by the skin of his non-existent Protoss teeth. But his grip is slipping. 151 to 109 supply. No more Colossi to drive this back. Another one is in production. +1 armor about to complete. He recharges a sentry and it dies before it can do anything. The Robo may go down before the Colossus completes as well. It'll pop out and wish it hadn't. Viking back in the sky, though I feel like it would have been fine on the ground as well. Knocks it down. And I think with that, despite a very strong effort, MaxPax will be choked out of game number 1. Very solid game from both sides. A rough start. I think MaxPax, he just wanted Clem to overcommit. But getting your natural bunker rushed into exposing your probes to Hellions is not great for worker morale or efficiency. So Clem fully exploiting that. Did you know that 2 Reapers and a Hellion can easily kill a Stalker? Clem does. You don't think of them as fighting units, really. But Clem thinks of literally everything as fighting units. So, game 1 to the world champion. So MaxPax, at a few moments, looking like he might be able to drag it back. Clem leaves himself so open to the Prism, to the counterattacks, and that's part of why he's so good, is he's willing to commit everything when he thinks he has an advantage. But that leaves you wide open to counterattack if it doesn't quite get the job done. So we're on King's Go. MaxPax with a wall in at the front on this most massive of maps. Interested to see where he's going with it from here. Usually you don't wall in unless you suspect Hellions or just early pressure, though a map with a ramp through the natural might be an exception. Also the sheer rush distance. It's unlikely we're going to see any sort of super early aggression. Though, of course, that's a mind game in and of itself, where because it's a map that's bad for early aggression, they don't expect it, and therefore early aggression becomes good again. But then they're aware that early aggression is good because it's bad, so it becomes bad again. And if you're following along, let me take this time to make a hard switch into ask you to smash that like button and forget about everything I just said before I said smash that like. Moving on. The probe. The SCVs. The probe has had a taste of SCV blood and it wants more. But the SCVs are unwilling to share, which is rude. Gate expand. Clem goes for the 1-Rax expand as well. A much more economical style than that early factory aggression. Though, there's the factory. About as soon as possible after getting an expansion. All the barracks are in the base, where they're usually supposed to be this time around. There's a bunker on the way, as well as a shield battery for MaxPax. So both of them, literally and figuratively, covering their bases. This is about as defensive as I think we'll ever see these two. Twilight Council in production has been convened. I haven't seen any. I would love to see a little bit more of the Dark Templar. All right, just every now and again. Thing is, against a player like Clem, you pretty much rely entirely on surprise. You'd have to, I think you have to proxy it. Like, he gets back to the, please sir, may I have some more shields? I don't know if we're doing little Timmy probe anymore, but meanwhile, the Adept delayed the command center. But wait, there's more. 2 Adepts. Didn't kill the SCV, but drew it off the work site. And he takes it out. Was that one softened up by the probe? So sometimes the probes will take just a little taste of those SCVs, a tasty taste. Because the Adept brings an SCV or a Marine to 1 HP with 2 hits. So if the probe just takes a lick, well then they get killed by those 2 hits, making it a lot easier to get early damage done. Which is why sometimes a probe, even just tapping a Marine on the shoulder with its little taser, can make the difference in these early game exchanges. I'm not saying that you should be attacking things with your probes in order to kill them with Adepts later, but I'm not saying that. I was really hoping I'd come up with something more profound by the end of that sentence, but here we are. The grenade, off the mark, and the Adept hunts down the Reaper. Bulwark in the main to zone out the Blink Stalkers. Though it looks like MaxPax would just 2 going on 3 gates, but he gets the 3rd base before the 3rd gate even completes. So very defensive Blink. He's going to have, yeah, he's definitely not focused on aggression, but instead just enough to make sure that any sort of aggression from Clem gets shut down. There's a Raven, and because Raven builds are like half of builds no matter what, that's another reason why Dark Templar are usually meh. Technical term. Clem's production line, just slicing up the base. The literal, it's interesting we've worked this out. Clem popularized it, but it's been adopted by everyone. The literal bulwark in the main. You've got your designated visitor zone for the Blink Stalkers, but if they try to get close, the siege tanks will disagree with them, because you have to blink once to get in, and then you'd have to blink again, or just walk past. So it's been worked out that this is the most effective way to zone out Blink Stalkers without just building a bunch of bunkers or something, which costs money. You're going to have to build these buildings anyways. And I do think that's something that you don't see of quite as much in StarCraft 2 as other RTS that I enjoy, is using your buildings productively. Obviously, it's a big deal, but I think it's somewhat undervalued, even now seeing this. Because you are going to get 3 racks, you're going to have a factory, you're going to have an engineering bay, so might as well put them in a useful spot. So, I approve, is what I'm saying here. Looks like the Raven got shut down. Did he get any kills? Well, no probes died, so I think the one Adept was the one that shaded into the natural. Otherwise, they've both been kind of flirting around, but not committing much yet. Clem likely won't be moving out until he gets his medevacs. MaxPax There's really no obligation to move out with anything but the Blink Stalkers at all. At least not till 200 supply. Or to get the jump on whatever Clem's doing. Third command center is on the way, which means Clem not committed to a big all-in, but instead is much more macro-oriented. In fact, he's also got a semi-wall-off at the natural, too. The Stalkers, kind of getting strung out. What? Hello? Anyone? It's a bit of an odd one. No real respect. Clem getting a couple Stalkers, trading the Marines for them. Bit of an odd fight. The tank will siege, and we're going to meet on the midfield. Blink Stalkers move back immediately. Raven floating over. We got Twilight Cancel +1, extended thermal lance, all the goodies you need for a solid mid-game. The SCVs, Citizen's Arrest on the, well, it's a bit rough. The Adept gets taken out. Double turret, knocks out a few probes. But now +1 in charge are completed. So that means MaxPax has a fighting army now. He has the production, he's working on a 4th base. And the best defense is oftentimes a good offense. So he has not taken the gases on his 3rd base yet either. Which means he's really focused on maximizing that unit production. We see 8 gates so far. There's no way to take out that Raven without building a Stargate, unless Clem wanders way too close to the ground. Another auto turret. And the Warp Prism will open up another angle of potential attack, as we already saw how effective that can be against Clem. Templar Archives on the way. Oh, just chilling in the middle of the map. Hanging out. And hoping that MaxPax will walk right into it. His dreams and prayers will be answered. 2 Stalkers obliterated. Meanwhile, the Colossi are joining up. And another Warpin. The supply's about even, but the tank's on the high ground. Definitely going to be a lot to deal with, as the battle in the center has not yet commenced, but the tensions are escalating. Now, the danger for Clem, if he's too far out in the field, things like this Zealot counterattack. Correctly anticipating he may get outflanked. MaxPax scouting in. Clem retreats back. Ooh, painful. Now, when a warping gets canceled, the cooldown gets reset and you get all your money back. It just sounds like they all died horribly. But really, they just got sent back to whatever purgatory they are in when they're getting warped. Let's not think about the philosophical implications of that too much. Down goes an observer. So MaxPax is going to be a little more in the dark. The map is dark and full of Terrans. MaxPax 74 probes, which is quite high for him. But now looking for the full-on attack down the center. Several Colossi, Archons as well. The Vikings looking for an angle, but the Archons and Stalkers are zoned out. The charge lots were softened up by the Widowmons, but now down the ramp, EMP is available. Force fields don't really cut off much. He actually evacuates a few of the SCVs. MaxPax making things very difficult here, but certainly not impossible for Clem. He still has a lot of the units he needs to work with. Drops a supply, repairs the depot, which is a thing that exists, and I think most people forget about ever since the last patch. Siege tank, still finding some shots, and there's only 2 Colossi with the army, which is a workable number for Clem to engage. The Vikings are looking to intercept a prism. Instead, we'll scout a huge legion of charge lots. Auto turrets on the other side pick off 2 probes. The Archon's getting big hits on the Vikings. He has to split them. EMPs on the front lines. The charge lot's distracted by the command center. He might be able to clean up some of them before the next wave of the fight commences. The Vikings looking for an angle, but the Bio Army has to dart into the corner. He needs to knock out those Colossi before they get any closer. And he manages to do so. Down goes one, and the Bio Army is tearing through everything else. MaxPax dug too deep and too greedily, and the Zealots were distracted. The Colossi were vulnerable. And now he's forced to retreat with the dregs of his army. Still get some Archons out. The reinforcing Colossus is pulled back as well. Disruptors in production. But Clem, without the splash damage to break up the Bio Ball, it's just rolling across the map now. The Disruptors have to... He's reliant on them now. Clem's closing in. He does just have the Bio, which means a misstep, and it could all come crumbling down. But Clem not known for many missteps. Disruptor shot. Dodged. Reinforcements cut off by some of the charge lots, but the Vikings over the top. Disruptor going to be taken down easily, just wanders into the fray. The Archons helping out, but the Bio Army with 2-2 against just +2 weapons will hold its ground and drive the Protoss back. Another Disruptor comes up. The Marines, one very unlucky Marine gets clipped, but the Nexus is taken down. Anti-armor missile to the north side. The Raven is still alive, by the way. A great job by Clem to keep it that way. Another robotics facility is vulnerable, and Clem is just tearing through everything. The Widow Mine's in place. The Disruptor shot. He'll kill some mines, but he'll pick up everything else. MaxPax struggling. He thought he had the army, but Clem had the patience. Widow Mines hitting hard for both sides. More Disruptors on the way. Reinforcements are streaming through parts of the Blue Sea. And this seems like a pretty cut and now relatively dry situation. The medevacs are nearly out of energy, but MaxPax is nearly out of supply. Trying to wait for the Disruptor. Another Archon targeted, and another one as well. The Disruptor clipped. Trying to fire one off from the south side. Looks to target a second. Takes it out. It was off cooldown as well. And MaxPax, GG. Clem will take game 2 as well. Quite a decisive victory. MaxPax trying to brawl it out, but Clem clearly on point, not overcommitting into the Colossi, waiting until the Vikings have an angle. The Archons not really making the difference. And MaxPax, very important. I think even compared to game 1, Clem adapted and did not leave himself vulnerable at all to the counterattacks. So instead of a kind of topsy-turvy economic roller coaster, eventually Clem just kind of squeezed him to death. Now, I think the big mistake, and it's only really possible to say in hindsight, attack it into the 4th base. Obviously, you want to take it out, but if you commit the Colossi and lose them, you may never get that initiative back, as those are not easy units to replace. MaxPax had 5 bases to 4. He was not fully committed. He did not need to deny Clem a 4th base. But when you're maxed out, feels like you have an opportunity. If he had waited a little longer, got a couple robos or a dark shrine. But it's hard to make that call when you're at 200 supply and you have what looks like a good army. Thing is, a few units go the wrong direction, get a bit distracted, and suddenly you don't have much army at all. So Clem off to a 2-game lead. We could be going home early. Or staying at home, let's be honest here. I've seen best of 7s between these two done in 30 minutes, and best of 3s take an hour and a half, so I wouldn't count MaxPax out quite yet. I thought my brain had a mini breakdown when I saw the mini map. As he just takes the base, the rich Vespine base, but you have to actually mine through the smaller mineral field in order to take that, which takes a couple minutes even with probes on it. So, interesting choice to go straight for the front. A choice that, well, okay. So I think this is almost forcing Clem into a certain path. That is the most siege tank attackable base on the map. That plateau right there. Like, it's almost saying go for it to Clem in this scenario. Like, so I think by taking it, MaxPax is limiting Clem's options because they're so good. Like, he has to go for a siege tank push, right? And because it's so obvious, maybe MaxPax playing some 40 backgammon here. I mean, if he's able to mine and actually get the rich Vespine, it's a pretty big boon early on. But he's struggling against just the first Reaper. Gonna lose a second probe now. Looks like we don't have the little counter. Somebody forgot the observer mod this time around. Okay, all right. Oh my. Probe gets him. Final kill. Will finally go down. It's actually going to be a Widow Mine drop out of Clem. Will he try to do the shade timing? I don't think it matters much. There's already enough Marines now. Technically, you can shade out of a Widow Mine hit like you're a Blink Stalker, but the timing is, it's not easy to nail. MaxPax knows. There is a tech lab on the way behind this. Medevac very obviously spotted by the Stalker. Hunts it on the way out of the base. Adepts looking in as well. Medevac being chased down. And already just a couple hits away from getting knocked out of the sky before it gets anywhere close to the base. So, oh, he gets it. Should have gone siege tanks. He actually hunts down the medevac with 2 stalkers and wipes it off the map, and that's huge. That is absolutely critical. It's a disaster for Clem. MaxPax desperately needed something like that. Well, that was the only thing like that he could have done at this stage of the game. And that is massive. The siege tank's in the main base, but the stalkers are just killing the marine. Hello? Hello, siege tank. There's no bunker done. Well, just like MaxPax losing his Colossi in the last game, losing that first medevac is spiraling out of control right now. Well, MaxPax now has the Blink Stalkers. He's got a Warp Prism. And Clem has absolutely nothing to pressure him with. MaxPax has mined through and now has the rich Vespine on the high ground. And blinks in right on top of the tank. The bulwark was not completed. Siege tank on the low ground helping out a bit as he ghetto blinks back with the Warp Prism. More Stalkers. Blink on cooldown, unfortunately. But he gets a tank, which will open up the main base for another assault. And behind it, MaxPax is he's getting a Templar Archives. Rushing to storm, he's back in the main! Another siege tank comes out, he's just picking off the Marines. Juggling the Stalkers. Loses a couple of them, but he's doing plenty of damage here, and he's keeping Clem bottled up in his base. That's possibly most important. Stim is on the way, +1 attack, but there's no add-on on one of the racks. He's just now getting a reactor on the starport, which actually took a few hits as well. Charge is on the way, and the Templar Archives is done. He starts Storm. Storm will be the choice. The idea here being Clem doesn't really have an economic transition. MaxPax is working with that rich Vespine. I think using the extra gas income in this exact scenario makes a lot of sense. So it is some 4D backgammon. Wow. And he energy recharges a Templar. All he has to do is survive the storm. Clem, even though he's not in a terrible spot economically, in terms of the pace of the game and the level of tech, he's quite far behind. He's just now getting his first medevacs. Okay, he's killing the rocks there. He's just now getting his first medevacs, as MaxPax already has Blink and Charge and Storm. So his tech path is way further behind. In fact, MaxPax is thinking about a 4th Nexus, as a Templar will be warped in to potentially feedback, hits it, and now the Raven is just a scouting tool, and seeing the Templar, Clem immediately loads up. There's an observer right here. I believe he spotted it. Oh my, that was like 2 Marines left over. He drops out immediately after killing the observer, just trying to send the wrong message here. A Stalker is waiting for any potential dropout of the right side of the base. And Clem is going to try to take his 3rd, but MaxPax has 8 gateways done. He's working on 4 bases. It's looking very good for the Danish Protoss. Another wave of charge launch. Archons. He's got 3 Templar and a Stalker in the Prism. And Clem, well, he's got siege tanks. He's got quite a spread here. And he might be able to deal with the initial wave of Templar like this. In fact, he has the supply lead Storm. Shrugged off by some of the Marines. But MaxPax has 10 gates now. He has the level of production. He doesn't have... Well, he does have a forge. He hasn't started any upgrades. He does run the risk of overdoing it here. It's another scenario where if he loses key units, then Clem can come across the map and potentially take the game. But the storms are withering. The front line is melting. The Archons evaporate, but the storm's now on the siege tanks. The charge lots from the north side. Clem, the Viking gonna try to take out the Prism, but another wave of charge lots may break the... Well, Clem taps out with more supply, but honestly, I think I agree with that at this stage, as he has no way to do economic damage. Another wave of charge lots is gonna come in. Now again, I have to give it the yellow card of just like, let us register that the Zealots are killing all of your units. Give us like 20 more seconds, Clem. That's all I need is 20 more seconds, Clem. But MaxPax just crushes through the storm, the right call. Though, I think with the early damage the Blink Stalkers were able to do, there weren't too many wrong ones. So, ends up coming out on top. But now, MaxPax is on the board. We're going into Amygdala. Some solid momentum. Pretty much everything Clem tried got slapped down with a vengeance. The NG Bay block turned into a boon for MaxPax. Being able to take that front base, get the extra gas, go for the Templar. The Widowmine drop instead of siege tank. I thought he would just do the siege tanks anyways, but the Widowmine drop gets knocked out of the sky. And then the Blink Stalkers are able to pick off the early tanks and delay. And of course the storms. Relatively uncontested. If you don't have ghosts or liberators, or there are a lot of things you can do against storm, but not when you have less bases, less economy, and less tech. You need at least one advantage there, and Clem ran out of them. 2 gases. We'll see what they cook up for us this time. Been a lot of early aggression in some fashion or another, but that's par for the course. Not the least bit surprising with these two. MaxPax drops down his Nexus. You saw the gases, right?
SCVs are under attack.
Well, it's kind of implied if there isn't already a command center on the way. Yeah, the command center should be starting around that 140. And the fact he has 2 depots. Where are you headed? Gonna hide by the little radar dish. Take that, put it on top of your Nexus, get some skill. Where's the probe? Where did the probe go? Sneaky, sneaky probe. Stargate? Stargate. Or just a gateway, I guess, but that seems like a pretty obvious Stargate route. He doesn't have that much gas, though. Huh. Just a gate? A gate. Hashtag gate. Gate. Okay. Well, the Reaper comes in. Adept headed across the map. It's just 3 gates. Gate. No, stop. Stop it. Well, probe actually gets taken out. I think the Reapers have been able to get at least 1 probe in every game so far. A constant annoyance. He hasn't scouted the whole main base. I think right now, MaxPax is trying to sell a blink timing. Another citizen's arrest? The probe takes it out. What happened here? Another Reaper died to one of the Adepts, which will now be hunted down by a vengeful squad of 2 Hellions and a Reaper, but... So MaxPax is certainly trying to sell a blink timing. And at this point, I'm wondering if he'll regret not doing a blink timing, as he has 250 gas in the bank. He's just waltzing in with the Stalkers. There's a Cyclone on the way. Oh, he's confused. Clem has no idea what he's dealing with. The Twilight Council's in production. He hasn't spotted it yet. Clem is really trying to get the info, but unfortunately, the info's already here. The Stalkers are... He can just walk in. He doesn't... He just puts a toe on the depot so it can't... Okay, well, it didn't quite nail that, but 3 probes dead to the Hellions. But the Stalkers are waltzing up. He might be able to get the reactor. Trying to break the Cyclone lock. Pulls back with the Stalker. And, well... Who's flanking who here? Whom's flanking whom? More Stalkers coming in. At this point, Clem is quite aware of what's going on. Not that it matters. That Adept helping out a lot. Picks off 1 of the Hellions. Cyclone looking for another lock-on, gets it. Micro's back, saves it with the medevac. Another Stalker coming in from the other side of the map. And desperately needs a repair on that clone. Siege tank about to complete. Now on the high ground. Where's he going to siege it up, if at all? He does so on the bottom of the ramp, but MaxPax just waltzes forward. Siege tank takes a big hit on the Stalkers, but not big enough to stop this push. And the Stalkers just waltz up and kill the Marines, kill the Hellions, and there's no one left for the SCVs. Well, I guess the medevac could save them. I don't... Did MaxPax win the game? Huh. The depot taking a lot of damage. Another tank about to complete. But now Clem is supply blocked. The thing is, the Stalker's already inside the house. Unsiege tank doing just fine. Blink is on the way. Tank not quite in range. And he unsieges at the least opportune time. Okay, well, this is just... The boys are pulled. Now, siege tank's in range now. Blink is nearly completed. Trying to stagger that tank forward. More production. The command center itself. Another siege tank hit, but then the tank gets taken out, and... Liberator. Blink in 12 seconds, but MaxPax is just laying it on. Picks off another few. And with Blink done, what's stop? Yeah, that. GG! Alright, I agree with that one more, Clem. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised he fought it out to that point, but as soon as Blink completed, he knows he was relying on MaxPax being so all in that he literally had nothing behind it. But unfortunately, there was still enough. Well, we're all tied up. We're going to game number 5. Clem taking 2 more mid to late games. MaxPax not able to find the answer to that bio ball sort of economy. But MaxPax winning the war of early aggression so far. So as we go into Ultra Love, who will it be? I think Clem in total series overall has the advantage. It's like 60-40. I don't think that's an exact number. That's a percentage. Probably 60-40 in the last 30 days. But MaxPax has taken more than his share. Well, depends on who you ask. In fact, the Liu Cup Finals, the last major tournament at all, was MaxPax versus Clem, and MaxPax took it 4-1. So I feel like I don't know exactly what affects these matchups, but sometimes in some of the closest games, sometimes the series is close, but the games are not, kind of like this one so far. And then sometimes it's a stomp one way or another. I think it's because they both have such near-perfect playstyles. If one of them makes even a small mistake or is a little off that day, the other one just runs away with it. Like, they're so incredibly good. It's intimidating. It's somewhat frustrating, honestly, as a content creator to an extent. But it's also incredibly impressive. So now here we are. Yet another Game 5 at the kids' table. Make your predictions. Everyone's buildings on their side of the map so far. Adept. Quite a greedy build out of MaxPax. Second gas. Pretty late in the grand scheme of things. Nexus will be finishing up. Meanwhile, Clem with the 2 gas. And just now getting a second command center. So MaxPax will have the economic advantage to an extent. And Clem will have the initiative with his early tech. And he actually completes the shade. Gambling that Clem will not commit right back in to try to dodge that timing. Twilight Council right off the bat. No sort of early gate aggression this time around. Well, I guess Twilight Council is almost always early gate aggression, but I digress. Widowmine. Knocks on the door of the depot with the Adept. I don't think he spotted even the Hellion. Very intentional by Clem, putting everything just far enough back. I guess not the command center, but honestly, it'd be more suspicious if he didn't see it. Robo's on the way. Blink as well. Adept poked away. Well, the Reaper Hellion also feeling a little seen. And they don't like it, alright? They like to lurk in the shadows. But the Stalkers are also there. That's where they come from. So I've heard. Blink not done yet. The, almost latches on. The Widowmine's hunting the Stalkers themselves. Actually gets one. Meanwhile, in the main base, the Reapers, 4 probes. Well, that combined with the mines. And the Reaper's finding so much damage in this series. Almost gets another one. 6 probes in total. The medevac, Somehow the medevac got out throughout all that. The Widowmines were taken down, but that whole kerfuffle ends up putting MaxPax in quite an awkward spot. He now only has a 2-probe lead. MaxPax already has his bulwark. Hellion slips by after the Stalkers have mostly left the base. Blink is now done. Needs it to help deal with this Hellion. Might actually get another kill with it. He does so. Of course he does. The Blink Stalkers are ready. Gonna try something. Double bunker. Picks off an SCV. Trying to get that Marine. Gets away, but bruises a Stalker or two. MaxPax expands to the north side base at the 12 o'clock. Meanwhile, Clem is all set up on the low ground. He does not have a third command center on the way. Not yet. Yeah, still just ramping up the production. MaxPax siege tank. Slurps up the Stalkers just in time before the second volley. Third Nexus. MaxPax. Forge on the way as well. Kind of a little indecisive as to what to do with the army. Clem clearly has the bunkers ready. He's got the siege tanks in position. He's building up the production. MaxPax continues to warp in the Stalkers and is looking for an opportunity. I think there's an area on the edge of the main. If he could pick up... Oh, he goes for the Raven. Eating tank shots from both sides, though. Tech Lab is vulnerable. Might be able to delay Stim. Surprised he's not targeting that one. Clem drops a mule to repair it. And will save it. A tough start for MaxPax. There were a lot of great opportunities there, but he ends up getting pretty much none of them. Doesn't pick off the Raven, doesn't delay Stim, doesn't get any of the tanks. All he gets are a few more Stalkers in the unit's loss tab, and a couple Marines, I guess. That mule, admiring its work for the rest of its life, which is about another minute. Twilight Council. Researching charge now after blank. +1 ground weapons on the way. Meanwhile, Clem with the triple threat. Stim combat shield +1. All in production. The double bunker. Scares me every time, but he goes for the rocks. Gets him out of the way. Robo Bay. Almost completed. Still just one robo for now, but MaxPax thinking about a fourth base. Thinking about a fourth... Oh no, he actually goes for a extended thermal lance alongside the Colossus. Hallucinated Phoenix will spot the third command center moving out, and Clem's so confident he's not even building an orbital first. Making sure he gets it out there as soon as possible. The army moving out to contest. The Blink Stalkers gonna poke away at whatever bio units they can get a hold of cheaply. Concussive shell, not quite done yet. The Zealot, charge finishes. Tries to hunt down some SCVs. A few more charge lots coming in from an awkward angle. Fourth Nexus is on the way underneath the main for MaxPax. Clem setting up his tanks to hold down the third. 147 to 133 supply going into 3 base versus, well, going on 4. Warp Prism pulls back. Clem, 20 supply lead. The charge lots coming in, trying to slice up what they can, denying a bunker from being created at the third. Colossus joins up with this army. A severe lack of anti-air here, though. Force fields to hold. Don't exactly do nothing but make the Marines feel very special, as they have specific gaps for them. 6 probes dead to the Raven? Yes. Raven slaps down a couple auto turrets on the backline, gets a surprising amount of damage done. Clem now with 69 SCVs to 64, which gives him a nice economic lead. MaxPax in a tough position. It's not terrible. It just feels like MaxPax's a little bit off for some of the games, to be honest. This one has been a bit of a struggle as well. We're getting into a similar scenario we've already seen, with Clem and MaxPax both headed towards 200 supply. They're both slowly incrementing out upgrades. Both of them around 70-something workers. MaxPax will have Colossi, Immortals Charge, lots of Stalkers. Clem, now adding in Ghosts to go alongside his Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, Mines, and tanks. Fourth command center on the way, but overall, besides the Blink Stalker aggression, almost entirely passive, just poking and prodding with the Blink Stalkers, and it's getting more and more difficult to find success with it between the siege tanks, the Widow Mines, and the Marauders. Which is exactly where the Stalkers tried to go. Ten and a half minutes in. Neither player willing to give this one up easily. We've gotten this far. We fought through the entire tournament. And now the final game. Clearly tense. 2-2 on the way for Clem. +2 ground weapons about to finish for MaxPax. He's got +1 armor in production. Still pretty far off. The main army for MaxPax now within sensor tower range. Caught a bit between a rock and a hard place. Disruptor shot flung out. Ground weapons level 2 now completed. Disruptor gets a Widow Mine, another shot to ward away. And charge lots will be able to dive on a non-planetary over near the 9 o'clock position. Clem trying to take a 4th base. Will split off some of the reinforcements. Does he have enough to actually deal with this? Vikings overhead. Already doing a lot of damage to one of the Colossi. The siege tank's committed to the 9 o'clock. And now, MaxPax pulling back. Another disruptor. The Stalkers, more disruptors on the side. A Shrine to Dark is on the way. MaxPax this time trying to make sure he keeps his army intact while teching up. Another disruptor hit. And the Marauders still struggling. 6 more kills with auto turrets. 6 more probes, importantly. With the auto turrets from the Raven, keeps racking up the kills. MaxPax is maxed out. He's paxing his bags and going forward right into the EMPs. Disruptor shots along the bridges. And Clem will be driven back for now. But just waiting for MaxPax to overcommit. And now there's a fusion core on the way. Alongside DT Blink for MaxPax. Ooh, finally eats a hit. But knocks out a couple disruptors in turn. Another shot to the center mass. Immortal in a vulnerable position. MaxPax trying to hold on to his base. Zealots and now a Dark Templar are going to be warped in alongside all this. Kind of surprising he's just going to show it right off the bat. Well, I don't think Clem realizes yet, though he does have some. Oh, another shot! Disruptor connects while Clem dealing with things back at home. Gonna try to take down the rock tower, but the disruptor shot goes through it anyways. And I'm not sure who this is helping. I guess it'll keep him from getting chased down. But the Vikings? Oh, the War Prism overstayed its welcome, and it wasn't welcome at all. Definitely a select all army hockey as the 13-kill Raven wanders back to that side of the map. Clem will turn and fight the Zealots. Disruptors will try to chase him down, but a little bit late. The siege tank still holds, finding more and more damage. Disruptors coming up short as the siege tank, the Blink Stalker's like, finally, I'll do it myself. The Raven had enough energy to throw an anti-armor missile in and pretend he didn't just use the select all army key. As we're brawling it out in the midfield. 2 Colossi at a time. +3 ground weapons on the way for MaxPax. Another double barrel shot. Not finding much. Another volley through the center. Liberator over the top. Blink Stalker's gonna help out a lot. The disruptor count is so damn high, but he doesn't take out the Liberator, and Clem is actually chasing into the disruptor fire. Another shot hitting Zealots and Bio alike. The rocks have already been taken down and the space opened up. Disruptors are cooling down, or I guess cooling up is more accurate. Warming up. Whatever. Clem's still at 200 supplies. MaxPax crushes, well, not really crushes, but is crushed back. The Disruptor is chasing Clem up to the high ground. You see him clipping a few units each time, but Advanced Ballistics is now completed. Clem with 5 bases. MaxPax with the same, effectively. Technically a 6, but the 6 base is incredibly vulnerable. The main bases are mining out. There's Liberators covering the outlying bases to make it harder for things like DT Blink. A Colossus stands alone, but is saved, at least for now. The Liberators are sieging up. The Blink Stalker's not in position to take advantage of it. There's no Stargate on the map, so the Liberators are going to be very hard to deal with. A Venn diagram of freedom on the 3rd base ramp down to the 4th base, keeping MaxPax out of his own base right now as he tries to come through with the Colossi. The Liberators, they have advanced ballistics, but they aren't really using it at the moment. 3rd base is taken out as Clem is just coring through the Protoss army. He's trying to take down the Liberators, but the Liberators are doing an even better job in turn. +2 ship weapons is done, which means the Stalkers get 2-shot. The Raven keeps wandering through these fights. I don't know why it's here, but it whips out an anti-armor missile on the way across. The Vikings overhead, and MaxPax loses 20 probes. He's down 40-50 supply. Clem is playing a near impeccable game. The Liberators are untouchable. The Vikings are more than enough to knock down the Colossi. He takes another one to the deck and into the unit's lost tab, and the Liberators are far too much to deal with. The Disruptor shots are coming up empty. The net is cast too wide. Clem slips through and takes the series. 3-2. GG. MaxPax unable to really get anything going, and Clem on fire on this series today. I know it's almost a cliche, but MaxPax snuck a couple away from him, but every game that went past the 10-minute mark, Clem seemed to take charge of things, despite the charge loss. Clearly deserving a victory, and takes another one. Well, hopefully it made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. But if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.